Good afternoon, students, and welcome to class today. We are starting our review today. We'll start from Unit 6. We'll be looking at tens and ones. So those of you who have forgotten about our lesson on tens and ones, please, this is another opportunity for you to remind yourself about tens and ones so that next time when we are doing hundreds and thousands, you can continue from there, okay? So we have our place value chart. This is a place value chart that we're going to use to identify our tens and ones. Whenever we say tens, it means that we are dealing with two-digit numbers, okay? It could also happen that you have numbers that are more than 2 digits, but you can identify or you can separate your tens and then your ones from it. Whenever you have a number, you start looking at the number from the right hand side. So when we look at the right hand side of this number, 9 starts the number here. And then if we look at the right hand side of this number, 5 also starts from here. So the very first number that starts on the right is what we call the ones, okay? So let's look at this example, how we can put in our ones and 10 from 85. So first of all, we know that we look from the right, that is at the back of the number, we have 5. So we have 5 to be in the ones, okay? So if you take your 5 from here and you put here, you have 80, correct? Okay, so if you have 80, how many tens will make 80? It means 8 tens will make 80. 8 multiplied by 10 will give you 80. That means you have 8 tens. Okay? So previously, some of you who were writing 80 tens, please, you look at how we are doing it this time. We are saying that 10 multiplied by 8, which is 10 groups of 8, will give you 80. So when you are writing in the chart, you write only 8. The 8 here says 8 times 10, okay? 8 times 10 is 8 tens. So that will give you 80. So now we will reverse our figure back to 85. So like I was saying, if you look at the right hand side of your number, which is the back side, the first digit that comes is the ones, and the next one that also comes becomes your tens. So 8 becomes our tens and 5 becomes our ones. Okay, let's look at our second example. We have 79. So which means if we are to separate this is equal to 70 plus 9, okay? So 79 is the same as 70 plus 9. So if it is 70 plus 9, it means this 9 becomes the ones, and then the 70 here becomes the tens. So once we only put the single digits there. And then with the 70, the tens is asking you how many times of 10 will give you 70. That means 7 times of 10 will give us 70. So we have 7 tens. If you write 70 tens, it means 70 times 10, and that will give you 700. Okay? So please know the difference. If you write 70 tens, it means 70 times 10, and that will give you 700. But if you write 7 here, it means 7 times 10, and that will give you 70. Okay, so this is how we can use our place value chart to identify our tens and our ones. Okay, so I hope this has been a good review for you on this video, but we'll still move to having an activity. So we'll do our task 1, which I'll post into the Telegram group for you to still try your hands on, and then you can always understand tens and ones. I'll see you in our second video. Students, welcome back to our second video. We are doing a review on tens and ones, okay? On this section, we'll be looking at whereby we have more than 2-digit numbers and we are supposed to identify the tens and ones, because in some cases you will not see 2 digits number, but you have more than 2 digits numbers and you still have to identify your tens and ones. So for you to master how you can always be sure that this is my tens, this is my ones, we are going to try how we can do with 3-digit numbers. So we have 2 examples that we're going to go through now. So let's get on the board and find out. So the number that we see here is 174. Okay, so let's expand our 174. That would be 100 plus 70 plus 4, okay? So 100 plus 70 plus 4 is the same as 174. So this is one easy way you can always use to identify your digits, the value of your digits, okay? So if you have it like this, that means your 4 here is the ones, because the ones are always numbers that are standing alone. That means they are single digits. So to identify your ones, you put your 4 here. So this is the 4, okay? The 70 here is your tens. But we cannot put 70 into our tens here, because when we put 70 here it's saying that, you know, tens, it's saying how many types or how many number of tens will give us 70. So 7 times 10 will give us 70. So we have to put 7 here. So 7 tens means 70. So we say 7 tens equal 70, okay? So we put 7 tens here. Because our chart is not having a place for hundreds or a place for a 3rd digit, so we cannot put the 100 or 1 in any of our columns here, because we only have ones and that of tens. So we ignore this 100 for now until a further question that will ask us about putting or placing our 100 into our chart. So whenever you have a 3 digit and you are supposed to identify what value for tens and ones, please you only do with the tens and the ones, and then you ignore that of the 3rd digit, which is the 100, okay? Okay, let's see our second example. We have 310. So 310 is equal to 300 plus 10 plus 0. Okay, so this will give us that. Or if you like, you can just ignore this one so that it only stays like that. Okay, so once it stays like this, now you only have 310. The 0 plus the 0 has been taken off, because whether it is plus 0 or not plus 0, it's still the same. Okay, so how do you identify your ones when you have a figure like this? Because the 10 is obvious that you can see your 10 here. So how many tens do you see here? You only see 1 10. So you put 1 here. So that means you only have 1 10 out of your 300. So that means you are dealing with this digit, okay? Okay, so because this is 0, we only have to put 0 here. That means in the ones place, you don't have any digits there. And the digits that you have there, it's 0. So you have to put your 0 here. So this is how you can do to identify your tens and ones from 3-digit numbers. We will still have a second activity on this video, which will be our task 1. It will be posted to you through the Telegram for you to find answers to. It's going to be in the form of 3-digit numbers, and you are supposed to identify the values of the digits in the tens and that of the ones place. I'll see you in our third video. Hello students, this is our last video, the third video on our review tens and ones. I hope that you have enjoyed the first and the second videos. So on this conclusive part of our lesson, we will still have 2 examples so that we can conclude our lesson with a homework, okay? So let's see what we have here. So on this value, we have 562. We are supposed to use our place value charts to identify our tens and that of our ones. So we will look at this one. We will expand this figure. So this figure is going to be 500 plus 60 plus 2, okay? So that means we have 560 and that of 2. So whenever you expand your figure like this, it becomes so easy for you to identify which ones are the ones and which ones are the tens and which ones are the hundreds, which will be treated on a different day, okay? So we have our 2, which will be here. So this is 60, and you don't put 60 into the tens because it's just asking you how many tens will make 60. How many tens will make 60? So the tens becomes 6. That means 6 times 10 will be equal to 60. So you should always remember that 6 tens is equal to 60. So we say 6 tens is equal to 60, okay? You always remember this one. So when you put 60 here, it means you are talking about 600, not 60, because 60 tens is equal to 60 times 10, and that will give you 600. On the second example, we have 300 plus 10 plus 3, okay? So when you expand it like this, you know that your single digits is the ones, okay? So you put your 3 here, and then how many tens do you see here? You only see 1 10, okay? 1 10. So you put your 1 10 here. So that means you have your tens to be 1 and you have your 3 to be in the ones place. Your homework is going to be posted to you through the group for you to solve and submit before our next week class. I would like to say thank you for joining class today, and I believe that you have enjoyed the review of today, and it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life. I'll see you in class next week. Goodbye.